I'm Father Stephen Riley, and on this beautiful summer's day I would like to talk to you about an important part of our tradition, the Ten Commandments. Commandments these days are not very popular at all. They seem like rules, and we don't like rules. We want to be free, especially in this modern world. We don't want to accept what others tell us. We want to develop our own freedom and to fulfill what we've been created to do. But the Ten Commandments are given to the people of Israel in order to make them free. And two insights might really help us to understand that. The first is to do with creation. When God creates, according to the book of Genesis, God creates in several different ways. One is by making things. He seems like, especially in the second chapter of Genesis, to be like an artisan who shapes man from the dust of the earth. God also creates by separating things. God separates the day from the night. God separates the earth from the water. And in doing so, he imposes an order upon creation. And the final way in which God creates is by speaking. God says, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God creates in that way in many ways because God's word is creative. It is able to achieve what it sets out to do. You might be interested to know that God speaks in the first two chapters of Genesis when he creates the world 10 times. And that mirrors the Ten Commandments. In fact, in many languages, the Ten Commandments are called the Decalogue, the 10 words. And so there is a parallel between the 10 words of creation and the 10 words of the commandments. If we keep the commandments, then creation will retain its harmony, and people will be able to live in peace and share the goods of the earth. For example, the commandment which tells us that we must not have false gods is to help us to understand who truly made us, that we're able to recognise, to worship and to give glory to the Creator through his creation whenever we worship him. Also, when we're asked to keep the Sabbath holy, this is a reflection of creation in which we remember that God rested on the seventh day and that we are made also to rest. We are not just automatons who have to continue to work and work and work, but rather that created in God's image and likeness, we too have the right to rest and to play. A second insight is to do with the history of Israel. Israel, as you know, was taken from Egypt, from slavery, and taken out into freedom and placed in the Promised Land. And keeping the Ten Commandments is a way of them retaining their freedom. Because although we may seem free without rules, it's in fact when we respect the rules and therefore respect the rights of others that we are truly free, and that we're able to break free from all of the negative things within ourselves which keep us as slaves. Coveting, for example. Coveting our neighbour's goods, coveting our neighbour's wife is a way in which we are slaves to our own desires, and God asks us to leave that behind and to enter into true freedom. Israel is also a very violent society in which the rights of people who are the poorest and the most defenceless are often under attack, and therefore true freedom for society will come when we do not steal, when we do not kill, when we respect our fathers and our mothers, and we respect everyone and the relationships we have with them. So far from being a limitation on our freedom, far from being just a set of rules, the Ten Commandments are those things which help us to maintain the harmony of creation and set us truly free.